you doing? Justin here. Today we're checking out an all-time Neil Young classic, which is Comes a Time. Excuse my vocals on this. I got a really sore throat today, and I mean, I struggle with this one at the best of times anyway, because it's a bit high for me. But hopefully you got the idea through my little squawk in there at the beginning. It's just there to help you figure out how the tune's going in relation to the guitar parts. Now, the really interesting thing with this tune is the way the groove changes between the verses and the choruses, and it's just in the verses, there's no snare drum being played, so you hear a lot of kind of an accent on beats 2 and 4 on the guitar, and then in the choruses you hear the snare comes in on beat 3, so it's got a different kind of a feel to it, which is probably the weirdest thing or the hardest thing about this tune to kind of get together and make it feel like it's something like the original recording. But and it's also interesting because Neil plays it quite differently often live than he plays it on the original recording. There's a lot more kind of intricate things going on the original recording that I'm pretty sure I hear anyway. So I'm going to try and explain as many of these different things to you as I can, while not overcomplicating it. Okay, so let's start real simple. Now what I'm going to be doing is a strum on beats 1 and 3, okay? Not 1, 2, 3, 4, just because the actual count, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, and 4, is quite fast, and I think it makes it kind of sound and feel harder than it should be. So the chords are relatively simple. You need a B minor bar chord, but the rest of the chords are all just regular kind of open things. So we're starting off with the G chord. The original one's got 4 bars of G at the beginning where the violin starts to get its country jig on. So just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the feel. And in the verse, G comes a time, then B minor, 2 bars. When you're drifting to D, comes the time when you A minor for 1 bar, then C for 1 bar. Same thing around again. Feelings like B minor, feelings lifting to D. Lift that baby right off A minor to C. Into the chorus, G. F chord for 1 bar, then C for a bar, then 2 bars of G. It's an F chord, tall C and G, and down there comes a D minor 7. I'll talk about D minor 7 again in a second. G. And that's basically it. There's a few little variations as you go through the tune, but if you've got those 2 parts, or those parts, the verse and the chorus, sort of figuring out the rest of the tune shouldn't be too difficult. So a little recap there. The verse is 2 bars of G, 2 bars of B minor, 2 bars of D, then 1 bar of A minor, 1 bar of C. The chorus, 2 bars of G, 1 bar of F, 1 bar of C, 2 bars of G, 1 bar of F, 1 bar of C, 2 bars of G, 2 bars of D minor, then a bar of G, and then a bar of G where it just hangs. So relatively simple kind of stuff going on so far. Now, as soon as you want to start kind of fancying this tune up a little bit, the most obvious option for the verses is to start picking out the bass note on 1 and 3 and having a strum on beats 2 and 4, or a 2 and 4 and. So either this, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or 1. Either of those things is going to work. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, or 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and, or any kind of combination of that. You could start by just playing the bass note, so works kind of nice, particularly for the verses. That's essentially what's going on. Now, there's other things that you can do, like you can start moving the bass note. So instead of just playing G, you could play G, D, G, D, meaning open 4th string. That would be the kind of normal country kind of that bass movement. But you could also use a little hammer on with the 2nd finger in the 2nd fret of the 5th string. Again, very common kind of Neil Young movement, that to use that 2nd finger hammer on the G chord. For the B minor, if you wanted to continue doing that, which I don't hear on the record actually, but it would be moving the 1st finger over to the 2nd fret of the thicker string. So you're still getting that bass movement. D, A, D, doesn't seem to do these things live, these little movements, but I definitely hear him on the record. And that's this movement from the D, A, D, C, B, A minor, to the C chord. It's a really nice little movement. It can get a little complicated if you're singing at the same time to kind of lose the feel of it while you're trying to add in fancy stuff like that. But again, it's practice making sure you get it right. So the notes will be D, A, which is the open fifth string, D, 4, 3, 4, 1. So just moving the second from the D chord, moving your second finger down the third fret of the fifth string, the note C, first finger on the second fret, which is the note B, going down to the A. A minor. So the A bass note, down, up, A, B, C, down, up. Again, a C chord, very, very common for Neil would be to do the little hammer on the open fourth string, hammering the second finger down. Have to do it all the time, you know. There's no set rules. You could just be. Now, where it changes here, and this is this feel change, I guess, that becomes important. You don't want so much of that bass note on 1 and 3, and then the chord on 2 and 4, because that really has that feel. 1, 2, 3, 4, bass chord. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And the feel for the chorus is oh, so well. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So it's the feel of it, the feel of the rhythms change. The meter where the beat is still the same, but it feels kind of like half-timey. So once it goes to the G, I'm feeling it now. I'm feeling the time at half the speed. Really. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. I'm just doing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So I'm putting the heavy strum then on beat 3. Let me just do those two feels and stay on the G chord so you can really hear the difference. So for the verses, you've got this 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. For the chorus, 1, 2, 3. Back to the verses. 1, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4. Okay, so it's just a different feel, and if you get that right, especially when you play along with the original recording, it feels like you're kind of on the groove, right? If you don't change for it, it doesn't sound bad. You could get away with it, and I see people play it without having a feel change in the song at all. But I think that's, for me, that's one of the really important parts of the tune. So Neil does tend to play this differently live to what I've just shown you and what I think's on the record. He tends to play in the verses that feel. So he's playing the bass note on beat 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and but he's not putting the bass necessarily on beat 3 there. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4. So down, strum, this up, down, up, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and seems to be what he tends to play live. Again, it's, you know, he's the kind of guy that does things differently quite often, and that's cool. But that would be a good feel to start off with for the verses if you want to look at more what he's doing live. For the choruses, it seems like he's pretty much doing what I was showing you before. This 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Although sometimes, again, he keeps that same verse feel through it. So, you know, it's a pretty kind of open tune for interpretation, which is a good thing. I mentioned that the D minor chord. So the D minor chord that he uses in the verses is most likely this nothing on the thickest 2 strings, open D string, 2nd fret, 1st fret, 1st fret. So like a little F triad with an open D string. But I have seen quite a few times live, he plays this one, which is real nice. Open D string, nothing on the thickest 2 strings, open D string, 7th fret, 6th fret, and then an open thinner string. There comes end when he's repeating that around. There comes a time. Sometimes he adds that in, so I can't help doing my Neil Youngisms now. Before the little hold, sometimes from the G chord, he's adding first finger, first fret, second string, and second finger, second fret, fourth string to get that 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1. It's just a nice, another one of those nice little embellishments that you can add that gets a little bit more in the Neil Young scope. And I think that's enough for this tune. Lovely song. Really, really nice one to play. This one. Another one that I should have done years ago, but there's so many Neil Young songs I feel that way about. But plenty more coming up soon. It'll take me quite a few years to get through his entire catalogue, I'm sure. But that's what I'm aiming for. I hope you enjoyed this one. Plenty more Neil Young songs over on the website. Go and check them out, and I'll see you for plenty more guitar lessons and songs and more Neil Young very soon. You take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.